mentioned under 300 kids left to place for host families for international students, for high school students. Can you just give me a little bit of a background on how that process works?
So our process here is we do a full vetting of all of our host families, and our students, of course, on their and intake end of that. But with our host families, it's not difficult. It's pretty simple. There's an application that host families fill out. And then our local coordinators who live all across the state of Michigan will work with the family to they check references. There's a criminal background check that needs to be done. We talk with them about what their family's interests are and what their normal life is like. And then we work really hard to try to match a student that we feel would be a very good fit with their family. We don't want to put a quiet homebody student with a family that's super outgoing and likes to be gone and doing stuff all the time. So we really do try to make the best match possible with student and family. And once that whole vetting process is done, the local coordinator will go to the host family's home, see the home, chat with the family. Then that placement will finalize if the school accepts the student as well. And usually within about a week of finalizing a placement, the student will reach out and start to communicate with the family directly, start to get to know each other before they actually arrive here in the States. So it usually takes about 7 to 10 days from beginning to end to be fully qualified as a host family.
How is the assimilation for students coming over, internationally? Is just trying to get involved with the social life and things like that.
Honestly, every country is a little different how quickly they assimilate. I would think, some of the Europeans did a faster transition because the cultures are a little more similar. But honestly, I love some of the cultures that do take a little longer to assimilate because then I'm learning something very different from them than what is similar to an American culture. So I enjoy that. I've personally hosted 20 students in my time. That's actually where I got started, was just as a host mom as well. I know the
Mhm.
same for Mindy.
Yes.
um, but I would say the average student takes between 5 to 8 weeks to really start to
Settle in.
settle into place, have their language skills to the point where they are really comfortable communicating easily. They've gotten into a routine at school. Our school system is so different than most anywhere else in the world. So that takes some adjustment. But I would say 6 to 8 weeks, and they're usually pretty well on track and doing quite well in the new culture and a new environment. So
I would imagine you guys must have a lot of repeat hosts, right? Or are there some like one-offs in there where they're just like maybe, once every couple of years? Or I guess what are the trends like?
We do have a lot of repeat families, and they tend to be the ones that are every year so excited to do a different culture. We do have some that prefer certain cultures, but we have ones that really like to dive into all of the different cultures. And then we do have ones that just want to do it once or maybe every couple years they take a break. But yes, we do see a lot of repeat families.
And I'm also wondering too, because obviously this is not like fostering because you aren't their parents, right? You're not forming a parental relationship with them. But are there any similarities to fostering that might be here?
So, if it's okay, I was actually a licensed foster parent for several years while also hosting. So, there are a lot of similarities, actually. um, it's a lot of that same mindset because while we are host parents and they do have very active natural parents, we really are the role of parent while they're here. They do need to ask our permission to go places and do things. It's kind of the best of both worlds because we're not the ones financially responsible for all of their needs. But we do still parent them. You know, we give them love and guidance and support they need, like we would our natural born children. And they do have to follow our rules, our guidelines of the house. Um, and in fostering, it would be sort of that similar situation where you are parenting someone else's child. There's more responsibility in fostering, but it is a very similar mindset. And surprisingly, we have a lot of dual host families where they are actually foster families and host families because they're kind of cut from the same cloth. That same,
They have a big heart.
yeah, that heart part of it
Yeah.
is very similar. So
Your experience being host families, do you guys notice yourselves continuing to have relationships with the students that you host? Is that common?
Yes, they become your children. I always call them my bonus children. My WhatsApp is full of cultures, and I'm getting texts all through the night because that's their morning, and they can't wait to tell us what happened. And it's amazing. They often, usually, invite you to their country, and they're so warm and welcoming. They want to show you everything. They definitely become your family.
I think, like I said, I've hosted 20 students and I'm still in touch with a very large majority of them. I mean, there's a few that
Out of 20, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
they,
Yeah.
maybe we aren't in touch as often, but I would certainly be able to reach out and get a response and vice versa. But yeah, it is, even when they do go home, it's very much still like,
They can't wait to share things
Yeah,
with you.
yeah,
Like they
it's-
did when they would come through the door from school or
yeah.
come down the stairs in the morning. And
Mom, I just graduated, or I passed my
Yeah,
test, or Mom, I did this today, or it's still very much that
I'm
relationship.
sorry.
Yeah,
That smile that comes on my face when I think about them.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
lifelong relationship for sure.
Yes, it is.
You mentioned the finances thing, how you're not necessarily responsible for all of their finances. Now, if somebody is looking to become a host parent, what does that look like in terms of finances? Like, I guess I don't even know like what you would expect.
Our program is a J1 visa sponsor program. And the only reason I mention that is because there are different kinds of visas that students can come on a high school program with. But with the J1 visa, the Department of State mandates that all host families are volunteer host families. So they cannot be paid a stipend to host. However, the students do come with the financial ability to cover all of their personal needs. So they cover their own toiletries and supplies. They cover their school expenses if they want to play sports or go to the movies with friends or go to a school dance. They cover all of those. As a host family, there is a little bit of a financial investment. I am providing an extra meal for an extra student. So my grocery bill goes up a tad bit. Depending on this year, I'm hosting a football player, so it might go up a little bit more.
I had a little dancer who barely ate anything.
So it kind of sometimes depends
Yeah.
on the student
Yeah.
you choose. But that's life. And so you do have a little bit of an increase in your grocery bill, but as someone that's hosted every year for 13, 14 years now, I can truly say that it's not that noticeable. And I usually host 2 students at a time. Recently, I've been doing one, but most of my hosting time, I had very little kids in my house. And so I hosted 2 exchange students so that they had another teenager to be with them.
It works well with littles or empty nesters.
Yes.
Hosting 2 is really good because they entertain each other, have things to talk about.
Absolutely.
You don't feel so much pressure to be the entertainer with just one.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I know that you're here to sell our viewers on being a host family, right? Like that's the goal, of course. But I'm just wondering what are there any bad, not downsides necessarily, but anything that is maybe a rough patch or something. Maybe you're hosting two students and you know, your kid and or your kids get into a like argument or something. Like, I guess I'm just wondering, are there any like times that where it's not
Of
as
course.
all peachy?
Oh, yes.
Well,
That's life.
they are teenagers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if they're an American teenager or a exchange student from a foreign country, they are teenagers. And I think any parent of a teenager will admit that it's not always peachy, right? So that's no different in this situation. Yes, we screen our kids very well for maturity, for English ability, but even the most mature kids sometimes is just a teenager. So there are rough patches. Hosting over the years, I've had my children argue with them just like they would their own siblings. But that's ultimately, I kind of like it because I know that they are treating each other like true siblings. Um, so there are situations, there's times that students might break curfew and we have to, okay, well, there's going to be a consequence for your disobedience or whatever, but it's really just your typical teenager type situation. Obviously, our company brings in over around 1,300 students a year. And so, yes, there probably is a very, very small percentage that they break a rule and they need to be repatriated back to their country because of it. It has to be a pretty severe situation for that to happen. But that percentage is extremely small in consideration of the big picture. Out of the 20 kids I've hosted, I've never, ever had a situation that led me to be like, I would never do this again. Some that, needed a little more guidance than others, but overall, the good has always outweighed the bad. And what seemed like a bad situation in the moment, now I tell as funny stories. So,
Even my own, I tell them.
yeah, yeah. And it really is. I mean,
Yeah.
as I have teenage kids, it's none of the situations have been any different than what I would expect out of a typical teenager. So,
You mentioned it's a financial investment. Anybody wonder or anybody wishing to do this, is there anything like upfront that they might have to pay? Like, does it cost them anything?
No.
absolutely not. No, it doesn't cost them anything to start this program at all. They just need to have a willingness to help and fill a need and love on a kid, really.
And an extra setting at the dinner table. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add that maybe I didn't touch on in this interview?
I just want to add something that we have been getting a lot of questions about is in the news, there's a lot going on about visas and student visas, especially at a collegiate level. And I just wanted to mention that that's not really affecting our program. Our students are coming on a different style of visa. So our students are still getting their visas consistently and regularly. We aren't having issues with that as some people seem to think. And I know that the political genre that we live in, a lot of people question that as well. And a lot of people don't realize the whole entire reason that the exchange student program was started in America was during like the Cold War time. And it was built as a way to foster peace at that younger level where we can become aware of each other's cultures and understanding of each other and where we are coming from. And so to me, this is the perfect time to be doing something like that. It's when there are political tensions and things, that I think that this is the most necessary. And that is exactly why it was started way back during Cold War times. So we do get a lot of questions about that, and like
Are
bringing
they
kids over
safe?
now.
Yeah, and yes, they're
So
very
we
safe. There's not anybody that's going to come and take them or snatch them.
Yeah, so that's not an issue that we are having to deal with, or that is in play with our students. So I just want to put people at ease when it comes to that, because we do get a lot of questions in regards to that. So yeah, it's a great time for the students to be coming, actually.
Are you guys seeing a less of an interest in students as far as that goes, because of the political space that we live in?
You would think so, but honestly, no. I mean, we are every year we're having to say, like, we can't take any more into the program at this point. So we still are getting requests from some agents abroad asking if we have room to take any more kids in, even for just this coming year. So no, not really.
They
I know
all
it's
still want to come to America.
they still want to come to America. So
They all love America.
Well, that's really good to hear, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time.